So, Addie. Yeah, this video is gonna be long as hell. It's gonna become very apparent soon, but God, her design has changed by far the most out of the three, which is why I saved it for last. There's a lot of pictures to go through here, so let's waste no more time and take a look at Addie's first appearances. Alright, so we got a couple designs here I tested out, and I landed on the first one I drew pretty easily by a landslide, and I expanded that a bit here. Here's an early concept of what she would look like possessing things, which changed earlier on. It wouldn't just add her hair to it. Well, okay, you'll see. And here's a really weird one. It's her like wearing this really scary costume to scare people, I think. Is this how she used to spend her time back then? That's really funny, honestly. And here's her first piece of key art. Not bad. This is like around when I gave her the hoodie. Honestly, her design is pretty cute in this era. I don't mind it. It's very different. I feel like it doesn't match her personality at all anymore. Now, here's this really old character named Ted. He was Addie's friend before she died, and they had this weird, like, on-again, off-again relationship. And he's not canon anymore. I got rid of him because I wanted to only focus on the three buddies, and I think it's kind of messy to add this random side romance to one of the characters, you know? And he also doesn't really have room in her backstory anymore, so he's not canon. And here's her second piece of key art. Again, like the design's cute, but it does not match her personality at all anymore. Like, she's not like this in the current state. And also, I know Ted kind of looks like my Sona, or the way I draw myself now, but I kind of recycled the elements of his design for that, because like I like the stripes and whatnot. But he's not meant to be like a self-insert or anything. Here's a big hairstyle change she had to get like more wavy. And her dark void eyes showing up for the first time. Let's go, poggers! That's like one of the best parts of her design. I'm so glad I added that. Here's her third piece of key art, and this is a good pose. It's cute, but like, low-key, what was I cooking with the different line art colors? Hello? The hoodie stands out so much. And here's Vivian showing up from one of the earliest times, which, like, by the way, Viv, what? Teenager? She was a teenager? That's so weird. I forgot about that. What the hell? She was a teenager at that point, like, in the development. That's crazy. Here's some designs of what she would look like alive, and like she's drawn as an angel. I think like she would come, like at this point she would come back alive as an angel if she did come back alive, which I don't think she will. What? I don't get it. Here's a past, present, and future, like evolution, I guess. And this shows like the concept of how I wanted her to die and then come back to life. I don't know how I don't know how that would work. Here's her fourth piece of key art, and like I don't mind this. You can see my like sketchy line art style kind of show up here. But it's like sketchy with no line weight variation. Like, it's okay. And here marks the beginning of the hair lightning round, where I went crazy giving her hair a big redesign. There's so many sketches of it. It got shorter, it got more defined, and also the Will-O-Wisp appeared for the first time, which, again, thank God I added that, because it's so cute. I love the Will-O-Wisp in her hair. Here's the Big Bang! As in me adding a big bang of hair that goes down to her design for the first time. I think it's funny that I called it the Big Bang. I didn't realize that. Here she has circle hair, like the bottom of her hair being circle when it cuts off, and I think it looks really ugly. It's like kind of my least favorite era of her design. And I drew me cheering here because I finally, quote-unquote, settled her hair. And then you can see immediately I made it flat, so I did not settle on her hair for a final design yet. This took so long to figure out. And here is the much better and much funnier way of how she would possess things, where it just adds her hair on it, which I think that's still canon. I think when she possesses something, it just adds her goofy bang to it. I think that's very funny. And the black on the hoodie shows up for the first time. Let's go! It's getting a little modern. You know, we're getting there. We're getting closer. Here's a little Ray cosplay, very cute. And here we can see her face stretching out a bit more, which is like a bit more accurate to what it looks like now. I'm obviously still figuring out the shape and everything, but you know, she's getting more normal human-like. She doesn't have an actual circle for her face anymore. Here's a fit swap with Ray. I love these drawings, they're so cute. And thus begins the lightning round number 2 of her hair design changing. Here I'm just simplifying a lot more, just making it like more consistent, easy to draw. And very important page for her design here. This is where I really start to make her hair imply 3-dimensional shape for the first time, like, ever. Thank God. You can see how many tries this took, but, like, look at that. Like, that's pretty close to what it is now. Like, that's really good. And also, I was based for that. Here she has an oversized hoodie with really long sleeves, which is what I want her to look like eventually in the game, but I need more practice drawing hands, so I'm giving her a normal sized hoodie for now. Look, chat, it's her eyebrows. It's her big bushy eyebrows showing up for the first time. Hell yeah! And around this time, her head shape starts getting really, really long to the point where it's like too long. You know, I was still experimenting with like what specific face shape she would have at this point, but I don't think this looks that appealing. Here's a Blastoise cosplay for Halloween to go along with Tango as Charizard and Ray as Venusaur. Around this time, I think, is when, like, her personality started to, like, well, I mean, you know, it's the kind of thing that happens gradually, but, like, she gets more, like, jaded and, like, cynical around this time, I guess, which is kind of how she is now. You know, her, like, ooh, shy, so quirky girl attitude is, like, kind of gone at this point, which I think is for the better. Here's her appearance in the Controls video, her goofy little sprites I made. I still love these so much, just like all the others. She's so silly. And from here on out, because she's in her modern design, I'm going to draw her eyes closed when she's alive, just so, you know, no one sees what her actual eyes look like. I think that's fun. After many tweaks and adjustments and redesigns, let's see how far Addie has come and where her design is now.